Subscribe to my channel first, then listen. The night was painfully still. That kind of silence that presses heavy on your chest and makes even the smallest sound feel insanely loud. I was sitting at the edge of the bed, streetlight glow spilling across the floor, reflecting off a quiet that felt suffocating. I wasn't expecting her. Not at 2 a.m., not with that kind of energy that literally made the shadows shift around her. She walked in slow, purposeful. Her grin curled in a way that made my stomach tighten. Not from fear, but from finally understanding everything. There was a familiar lightness in her. She had brought that vibe home before. But tonight, it felt different. Brazen, almost victorious. She was smiling like she owned the night, like the world outside had given her exactly what she wanted. And for the first time, I understood how small I must have looked to her, just a spectator in her victories, not a part of them. Her eyes caught mine, and in them I saw something sharp, pride, arrogance, maybe even entertainment. I didn't say a word. I didn't have to. The silence between us was heavier than any fight we'd ever had, sharper than anything we could have thrown at each other. It was a calm before a storm she didn't even see coming. I stood up slowly, floorboards creaking beneath me like a warning. She paused for a second, just one heartbeat, and I tilted my chin toward the bags already packed by the door. They'd been waiting, just for this exact moment. Her smile flickered, tiny, but I saw it. Then she forced it right back on her face like nothing had shifted. "You're seriously just going to let me do this?" she asked, fake shock dripping off every word, like my calm had broken some law of the universe. Still, I didn't answer. I let the silence make her feel every inch of the truth. She picked up a pillow, try and provoke me, try to get a reaction, trying to test the quiet. But I didn't move. My hands relaxed by my sides, my breathing controlled. And every instinct in me wanted to scream, to call out the obvious, to fight for the broken pieces we had been pretending weren't shattered a long time ago. But there was a clarity in me now, a peace, because sometimes staying silent hits harder than rage. She started pacing, looking around at the corners of the room that once held our laughter, our tiny celebrations, our soft promises. It was insane how a room that was once warm could feel like neutral ground, like a space I had already emotionally vacated long before she walked in tonight. Her hand brushed the handles of the bags again, and her forced grin thinned even more. I still didn't move. That simple nod had already done more than 1,000 arguments ever would. My decision was already made, and now she had to carry her own consequences. She laughed, but it was brittle, hollow, empty. She finally understood that the dramatic scene she imagined would never happen. The control she thought she owned was gone. She wasn't calling the shots anymore. She wasn't steering this. She wasn't even in the game. She froze, hands hovering over the straps. And suddenly in her eyes, uncertainty flickered. The confidence she walked in with dulled into doubt. She wanted to say something, twist this moment back in her favor, rewrite the narrative like always. But nothing came out. Silence was now the loudest voice in the room. I stepped closer slowly, eyes locked on hers, and for a split second she faltered. My nod stayed steady, reminding her that the choice had always been hers, and she had already made it. Those bags weren't just suitcases. They were the result of her actions, the bridge she chose to cross without me. Then she exhaled a long, exhausted surrender, finally realizing the game was already over before she ever entered the room. I turned away and walked toward the door, step by step, never looking back. Every step I took fell firm, grounded, final. Behind me, I heard the soft rustle of fabric, the quiet sound of her defeat landing hard. Outside, the air was cold and clear, the city humming faintly under a sleeping night sky. I took a deep breath, a breath that felt like freedom, knowing I chose peace instead of chaos, stillness instead of theatrics. Life would move forward, like it always does, but I would never forget this lesson. Some victories don't require a single word. True power doesn't always yell. Sometimes the strongest move you'll ever make is simply nodding once and walking away